Welcome to the wonderful world of dance, bringing you exclusive interviews with top dancers and choreographers and reviews of the world's best companies across the globe. You can find lots more on our website at thewonderfulworldofdance.com.
Hi, this is Savannah Saunders, and this is the third part in our mini-series with Elmhurst Ballet School in the UK. Already we've spoken with the school's artistic director, Robert Parker, who is a former principal dancer with the Birmingham Royal Ballet. We also talked with Hamish Scott, the winner of bronze at this year's Genee ballet competition, which was held in Sydney. Today, in our final part, we're talking with Elmhurst graduate Lydia Holt. Thanks for joining us today, Lydia.
Hi.
Hi. So, Lydia, tell us, when did you start dancing? And
gosh.
Yeah, and what made you take up ballet?
Well, I mean, as a girl, I think I started how many of us do, and just at like the local school, and I did it with all my friends, and it was a really fun class. So we got to wear pretty skirts and dance around like fairies. From there, I think I remember my mum telling me I used to get frustrated with girls when they used to mess around and take too long to put their shoes on. So from there, I think mum was like, okay, fine, let's give her something else to keep her busy. And I started in just a local school in where I'm from, in Cirencester in the Cotswolds. And I started ballet classes and modern classes and tap classes. Probably when I was about 5, it really kind of kicked off for real. And from there, it's just been more and more and more. And then ballet kind of became the front runner. And from there, I joined Elmhurst when I was 12, and I've been in full-time ever since.
And has it always been your dream to become a professional dancer, a ballerina?
I think so. I mean, it sounds corny, but I feel like I've never wanted to do anything else. It's never a question of, what else. It has always been that, and it has felt very natural, and I think that's kind of what makes me trust in that I want to do it, is because there's nothing really else I'm equally as passionate about.
And when you were auditioning for Elmhurst at the age of 12, what was that experience like for you?
Well, it was tough actually, because funnily enough, I didn't get in 11. I was doing junior associates with the Royal Ballet, and all the rest of my friends got in, and I was absolutely gutted because I had my heart set on Elmhurst. And so I went away for a year, and then I auditioned again to go at 12, and I got in. And of course, that was even more rewarding because I, got the rejection initially, so I felt even more. I appreciated getting in even more. So it taught me rejection from an early age, but it was the beginning of such a great journey. And like I look back and I am so grateful that it happened when it did, because it's got me to where I am now.
And it sounds like quite an adult perspective for an 11-year-old to have. Really, most 11-year-olds don't have this massive aspiration to get in somewhere, to audition. All their friends get in, get rejected, go away for a year and try again. Do you think it's the ballet training you've had has helped give you that maturity?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's funny, even at that age, I remember struggling with my friends because I don't think they understood like why I cared so much and it was taking me away from school, and it was always just so big, and it was something that obviously they didn't relate to. But definitely, and from an early age you're treated like a professional, and that time is really of the essence as a dancer because our careers are so short, so there is kind of no hanging around. And I think from then till now, it definitely has made me more mature and beyond my years. And even like at this age, 19, I got friends who are at university and they're just in a completely different place to who I am. But it's, I think it's a good quality, I think. And I'm glad I got that from the training. Absolutely.
So tell us about your years at Elmhurst.
Wow. I mean, from being there, I owe so much to the school. I joined when I was 12. I've grown up. They've nurtured me and done everything created me, not only as a dancer, but as an individual, as a person. It sounds corny, but it is a family. The girls I'm surrounded with now, we've grown up together since we were 11, 12, and we've seen each other, become these people that we are. And we've got, we are such a family. It's difficult because we do our studies and we do everything else, and we try to be like normal teenagers as well, but ballet is the focus and it is the drive and it is the the central aspect of everything we do. So it's good though, because obviously I'm surrounded do understand what I'm going through and do get it. Even I don't come from dancing parents, so it's nice to be surrounded in an environment where people actually do understand and can sympathize and can relate to me. So that is great, and it is such a great school, and I've had so many happy years there, and it's fun. It's fun being at boarding school, and I've got so many happy memories from being there.
And what was the greatest challenge, do you think, during your vocational years studying at Elmhurst?
I think personally I've really struggled with kind of believing in myself and not letting myself get too agitated and frustrated. I think that's been a real problem of mine, is I'm very impatient. So when I see everyone else progress, and I'm like, God, wow, she can do that and he can do that, and I work hard and I try to do that for myself, I think that's a problem I've definitely faced, is being patient and not getting frustrated and just appreciating where I am. I've been able to kind of get used to that and try and manage that with the help of my teachers, and them saying, reassuring me that I'm in the right place, but also, telling me their experience and saying, I was exactly the same. I felt like I was not improving, but I was working hard, but you've just got to trust in what you're doing. And I think obviously I'm still impatient and it's still a problem I do struggle with, but I think it's what I've got to learn how to do. I've got to manage it and got to be able to appreciate what I'm doing, and just know that whatever I am doing is enough to where I should be.
And looking back at your time at Elmhurst, what have been some of your greatest moments, or what you've loved the most, or felt that you got the most out of your training?
Wow. I think definitely last year we have a solo competition every year, and when I was in my second year of sixth form, so I was 17, I won the solo competition. That was a really great moment, I think, because I chose to do a very unusual solo by Kenneth Macmillan, and everyone else was doing fairies and beautiful variations, and everyone looked lovely, and they were more traditional variations, but I chose to do this really unusual one, and I chose it because it was obviously, I felt like it suited me, and I think to kind of take a risk, because it's not everyone's cup of tea, but actually for it to pay off was really rewarding, and encouraged me and made me believe in myself and think, it's okay to be different. Actually, it's okay to do an unusual solo, because there will be people out there who like an unusual solo. So I definitely felt that kind of cheered me on. And also, like I was saying, when I get frustrated about if I'm not going anywhere, having one win makes you think, okay, we're in a good place, carry on. It does pay off. So that was a really great moment.
And also to give you that confidence that you were talking about, being challenging, believing in yourself.
Yeah, totally. And it was, and we have external judges come in. Luckily enough, they're dancers from Birmingham Royal Ballet, so they're very impressive individuals themselves. And for them just to say that was good was like earth shattering. It was amazing. It just felt like, oh my gosh, I've done it. That's something. You can tick the box. Just relax, Lydia. You're in the right place. Just carry on. So it was rewarding.
And Elmhurst have a summer performance.
Yeah.
Is this something you were quite instrumental in? Is that right?
Yeah, so we're doing lots of stuff at the moment with our summer show in July, and luckily enough we have such an amazing opportunity to work with David Bintley, and he's choreographing on us this year on my year group. I mean, that is just not only to get an external choreographer and choreograph on you for a premiere is an amazing opportunity, but David Bintley, artistic director of the leading global company, it's an honor, and he comes in and he works with us just like we're anybody else. It's such a privilege, and we're in learning that at the moment, and that should be something really amazing when it comes to it. I mean, already in rehearsals it's getting more and more exciting, because seeing how he works and seeing the vision be created, when he's working with me and what I'm doing, but also when I see what he's produced on other dancers, that's really amazing.
And you're about to graduate, is that right?
Yes, in July.
And this is where you leave the comforts of your ballet school and head off into the professional dance world.
Yeah.
You've been out auditioning. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that experience.
It is tough, actually. I mean, there's only so much. Everyone has a different audition experience, and lots of people are lucky enough, I went on my first audition, I got it, or even don't even go to an audition and get scouted from school. Others, you have to do loads and loads and loads. So it's difficult to kind of prepare for it because, you never know how it's going to go. But it is difficult, and it's actually more difficult than I thought it would be. And it's not rejection. I think you can deal with, and I think I've dealt with it in the past, so it's okay with the rejection. But I think it's getting the motivation after the 5th or 6th audition to still believe in yourself. I think that has proved very challenging, and I think again it's only one of those things that it's very personal, obviously, and everyone experiences it differently. And again, I think I have sometimes let it get the better of me and really felt very despondent and not good about myself. But it's what you've got to do, and there is a lot of people who can relate and understand and say, you know what, it feels like nothing is going to work, but it will. And again, patience, patience. So I think it is difficult, and obviously it will end eventually, touch wood, but it has proved very challenging.
And in terms of your desires for the future, are there particular companies that you would love to be able to dance with, or particular choreographers that you would really want to work with?
I'm quite a tall dancer, so I really enjoy doing kind of more unusual work, and especially like neoclassical and more contemporary ballet. I really enjoy that, and I feel like it suits me better. So I would love, oh my days, I would love the opportunity to work with William Forsythe. I absolutely adore his work and have learned some of the repertoire before, and just I don't even know what it looks like, but it felt amazing to dance. And I think that, that's what it's all about, is how it makes you feel. And I enjoy dancing with him so much. And he does work in Europe, which is great.
Yeah.
There is some amazing companies in the States. I know Pacific Northwest Ballet in Seattle is a brilliant company, and they have such a varied repertoire of such interesting work, and really, bring it into the 21st century. And all their dancers are just beautiful, such dynamic, like virtuous dancers. And I think, that's inspiring enough. There are some great companies out in America as well.
And as a 19-year-old thinking about your career, and careers are short, but with all these companies, how do you feel that the future of dance is changing, or how you see things from your perspective, perhaps wanting them to be slightly different, or, what does that look like for you?
Obviously, I've said I'm a taller dancer already, and I think it's difficult because, again, I think there's, it's got more of a stereotype, more of a tradition of smaller, petite dancers. So I think that is a challenge I have faced already. But I think along those lines, I think varied body image would be an amazing improvement as time goes on, and it being more accepting to different shapes and sizes rather than people trying to fit the same mold, because it's, and I know that is the nature of it, and I wouldn't want to change it, but I feel that can be difficult, especially on such young individuals, and especially on young girls. It's sometimes a bit damaging. But along with changing times, it would be great to bring some, I am a fan of neoclassical and contemporary ballet, and I think the more new works that are being produced at the moment, at the Royal Ballet, you have some great premieres with Wayne McGregor and Liam Scarlett, and I think it's amazing seeing new work being produced that is a bit different, and that isn't maybe just classical music, which I think sometimes, I enjoy that anyway, but sometimes maybe the general public don't connect with that as much. So to bring it to a wider audience, maybe that would be something that would change. But actually, I think it's already going that way already. You see lots of different, the choreographies are getting more varied, and it's getting more important to be a versatile dancer because it's changing. So it looks promising, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. The versatility, and we talked with Robert Parker about the versatility that is required now of dancers to be able to perform the pure classical and the neoclassical and the contemporary dance. Yeah. Within that, how have you found that challenging or rewarding, or if that's been your case?
Yeah, definitely challenging. At Elmhurst, we're lucky enough to have lots of different classes. We have jazz, and we have flamenco, and we have contemporary, and especially something like jazz, where it's all have to be bent knees and low to the ground. Obviously, you have your jumps as well, but predominantly it's on bent knees. I mean, our teacher, he's just, we're always reminded, keep down, everyone down, because we're naturally like up on our toes and straight legs. So it can be definitely challenging to kind of break what you've been told and, turn in contemporary and things like that. But I enjoy it. Particularly, we've got great teachers at the school, and it is, I find it rewarding and healthy, I think, to get a different influence and kind of almost switch off a little bit from time to time of, always being thinking the same thing. So I think, moving in different ways is really good. And I definitely can see it I see the benefits of it in being versatile as a dancer. Even if it is the most classical piece, I think a versatile dancer would perform it with just a different approach that actually it does look better. And I think it is, being versatile is becoming worth more and more and more at the moment.
And looking forward, have you always had a dream of a certain role, or that you would love one day to perhaps dance? Is there...
Oh, goodness me. Oh, wow. I think probably back to William Forsythe.
Okay.
I learnt some of his repertoire at a summer school I was at. It was for a piece called Second Detail, and it was just so dynamic and so exciting. And I watched it on other dancers, and it brought a smile to my face because just how electrifying it was. And then again, I don't know what it looked like on me, but just to dance it was incredible, and it just felt so exciting and so... I was at the edge of my seat, just watching it, and I think his work just is mind-blowing.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan as well, and I saw the Dutch National perform his pieces, which was just incredible. I have to say, I'm a huge fan of both choreographer and company. So tell me, how do you stay motivated? As you say, the auditioning process is quite emotionally challenging. No doubt, I bet it's very physically challenging as well. But how do you find that motivation to continue?
I'm very lucky. I've got a very supportive family who I think, in my depths say, remember why you started, remember where this all came from. I think it's very easy to lose perspective and get lost in just the challenges that you're facing day to day in a sort of bubble. And I think it's very important to remember the bigger picture, which is actually is to dance professionally. And I think remembering that it's bigger than this, it's bigger than that little audition, it's bigger than solo that you can't quite perfect it. That I think is motivation. And I guess just to enjoy myself, everyone wants to find something happy, and I know that I find happiness in dancing. So I guess it's just remembering that I'm fighting for my own happiness, and I'm willing to fight for that because, it's worth it.
I speak to a lot of dancers, and particularly a lot who go on to either being choreographers or artistic directors. And it is interesting, actually, when you talk to them about their experience moving into the professional world. There is never very rarely just that straight, perfect career trajectory. That they've all faced really immense challenges.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes they get into a company that they've loved or wanted to work with, got there and thought, oh my goodness, this isn't for me. Or they've had to move, live on the other side of the world, someone they love. There's always this really interesting journey, and I think each dancer has their own journey.
Yeah.
And within that journey, though, like you say, making sure that you are focusing on what makes you happy. And what is it that you love the most about dancing?
I love the music, for starters. I love the rhythm and feeling, it's punctual, you have to be doing something or, doing something on the time or be somewhere on the right time. But I also, especially with ballet, I love the discipline, which is unusual, I think, because I think that can be the thing that drives people most, crazy. But I love that it is difficult and that it's of such a fine, high quality, and the fact that it is so sacred and it's so classical and not old, but it comes with such a rich heritage, and I think that's so amazing to be able to analyze and understand. And I learn so much every day, and I don't think I'll ever stop learning about how to do things, what feels better, like my own body, my own dancing. And I love I love the discipline and the technique and the tiny bits of it that make it almost hard to get right. Again, that sounds strange because that's what brings heartache, but actually it makes it so rewarding when it does work. And I think that's what you fight for, is getting it right. And when it's challenging, it makes it more worthwhile. And seeing such technicians and such great dancers inspires you and brings so much like fire. And I think that is, it's exciting. And I just think moving and I'm quite athletic. I quite enjoy doing fitness and other physical stuff, so I also like how athletic it is, and it's challenging and it pushes your body, and you're really you can throw yourself around at times and just feel not like a human because you're twisted and distorted. I think that's really interesting, and it is like invigorating as well.
And dance is becoming more and more popular. I think social media has exploded the popularity of dance. We now see it on TV, and we've got the BBC Young Dancer being broadcast. How you're 19. How do you think digital technologies and social media is impacting dance, or have you experienced that at all? Are you on Instagram, Snapchat?
I definitely think, obviously, it's a good thing that lots of ballet dancers are so beautiful. They're incredibly graceful, and obviously having amazing bodies, and have a natural way about them. So obviously they photograph very well, and whether that's on Instagram or it's in the pages of Vogue, and I think those images are very exciting and elegant, and I think can be perfect for like high fashion and things like that, and can be so topical. But also, like you say, I think with technology, alongside more contemporary choreography, bringing technology, whether it's something symbolic like mobile phones and like how much we use them, or whether it's just new technologies like lights and music, and using electronic music as opposed to classical instruments, things like that can be more relatable and can spread across social media, I think, more smoothly than a classical music with a tutu. And I think that's really exciting when it blends and it moves really well. Obviously what's really nice, and I think can increase the spread of ballet, is the ballet dancers themselves, when they're reminded, and when they remind people that they are just normal individuals and they do normal things. You really funny videos online, whether it's dances on travelators and airports, or whether they're doing the mannequin challenge, or things silly like light-hearted things. But I think people don't expect that from ballet dancers, because it is such a disciplined art, that when it does happen, I feel like it makes it more relatable for the general public, and therefore it's funnier because you don't expect it. And I think little things like that is a great benefit of social media, because it brings it and it shares, and it reminds people that we are individuals as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So thinking about, as you say, it's a short career, but it's also a long time as a dancer. Have you given any thought to what would be your, as I like to call it, the second act? Have you thought about what you might like to do once you've come off stage?
I think that's definitely good calling it the second act, because at the moment it does seem like it's difficult to imagine it as anything else actually right now. Obviously it's my entire focus in my entire world. I think that's why I like calling it the second act. That makes sense. I'm split between, I did geography and biology A-levels, and I'm very interested in in geography and in how the world works and traveling, and I think obviously I haven't seen much of the world, and I'd love to be able to explore more of the world. Don't know if that's actually so much of a career, and also how possible something like that would be, but definitely I think I enjoyed biology, and I enjoyed definitely looking at the sports science side of work, and I think I actually understood more of my body and learning my biology A level from my dancing, and I understood how things worked a little bit better. So maybe going into something like physiotherapy and nutrition and things, working with athletes would be really interesting. I think I've always really enjoyed watching things like the Olympics and stuff like that, and seeing this different side of sport and seeing how they work. And like I said, I think dance is athletic. It definitely is. And I would call myself an athlete, and definitely I think all dancers are. And to work on that side, I think would be really interesting, and try and almost blend it across to ballet.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask as well, is there a particular dancer that you really aspire to be like?
Oh, wow. Dusty Button, who's in Boston Ballet. Obviously,
Absolutely.
I think she's a big name. When I was younger, actually, I got the opportunity, I was picked when I was a junior associate to dance with Birmingham Royal Ballet, to act as a child in their Mozartiana production. And she had just graduated from the Royal Ballet School, I think, at this point, and joined Birmingham Royal Ballet. And I remember I was about 10 or something, and just being in awe of her and being absolutely shocked. But she was also so lovely. I mean, she must have only probably been 19, 20. And she was so lovely and so funny. And then, but God, she was gorgeous, and she had amazing legs and feet. And I think I only found her on Instagram a couple of years ago. And I mean, I knew she'd left the company, but then seeing her on Instagram, and her videos are, I'm sure everyone knows her videos. She's huge on Instagram, and she is amazing and really such a beautiful dancer. And again, dynamic and virtuous and versatile, really, really versatile. I think, again, she's a very great example of a 21st century dancer, and she's quite tall as well, which is really inspiring, I think, for me.
Yeah. And the 21st century dancer that you mentioned there, what does that mean to you?
I think it means someone who is aware of the times, I think aware of what's going on around them, whether it's like political or economic, or not just in inverted commas, a bunhead, is aware of what else is going on. And actually, especially someone who utilizes it, who uses Instagram and, uses those different platforms that are so major in today's life as a benefit, and brings it into today's world to make ballet more relatable and really spread the message. I think that's a good pioneer, I think, of ballet, someone who can show the world what we are on a platform that's acceptable, and I think, and obtainable, and seeing the different sides of a dancer as well, that we're not just little creatures that live in the ballet studio.
Yeah, absolutely. My final question to you, Lydia, is what advice would you give to a younger, aspiring, potentially full-time ballet student thinking about a career, perhaps either with Elmhurst for training or a future career? What advice would you give to someone younger?
I think from my own experiences, I think you have to want it. You have to really, really want it. And I think I know I want to be a ballet dancer. I know I love it, and I really, really struggle, and I can't imagine, and I feel so awful for the dancers maybe who don't love it but still do it, because there's no way I think I could continue if I didn't love it, because it is challenging. And I think expect difficulty. I think do not expect that it will be light. Expect the difficulty and expect the sacrifices, the little tiny small ones, not the big ones, but I think also believe and have confidence that it definitely is worth it. It definitely is. And I think it's such a rare and interesting life, and I think it's definitely exciting, and I'm really glad that I've had such an opportunity to get to where I am, just to experience it to this point.
Well, we wish you all the best for the future, and we would love to have you come back and when you've joined a company and talk to us about your experience of a new company, so that we can sort of follow your journey as you grow and graduate. And
Great.
For listeners, if you want to check out more about Elmhurst, you can visit their website and check out their social media, elmhurstdance.co.uk. And, well, this is the final instalment of our mini-series on Elmhurst, and we'll be following the school and the students with interest. Thanks so much, Lydia.
Don't forget to subscribe. We've got some incredible interviews coming up with principal ballerinas and renowned choreographers. We love dance and ballet, and we hope you'll love us. Join us on Facebook and Twitter.